Thank you so much. So my name is Junhyoung Lee. So it's my honor to present my uh, kind of new manuscript for this KPSA with summer meetings. So today my presentation is about North Korean diaspora YouTubers and as preliminary research, a kind of case study. So this presentation focused the 17 cases of North Korean diaspora YouTubers, especially the Silver Award YouTubers, so-called influencers there. So as a caveat, I'm kind of newbie of these quantitative text analysis. So this analysis might be not much reach the standard level, but I'm trying to my best. So these kind of preliminary research. So here is the index of my presentations. I introduce some of my research project first, and then uh, I show that what a relationship between North Korean diaspora YouTubers' activities and their social identity constructions at the new countries. So I review some related literature first, and then I introduce some rationale of case selections and show that some descriptive statistics. As a finding sessions, I present some kaleidoscopic change among the North Korean diaspora YouTuber video contents, such as gender differences in the different type of the videos, and also we can check the impact of positive or negative political event of these news type of the videos. In the discussion sessions, I did with some commodification of these news commentary type of the video in the YouTube, and then digital attention economy in the North Korean diaspora YouTubers. So in conclusions, I summarize some of my findings and some discussion points. Let's start the first thing first. So my research interest and puzzles start with these pictures. I mean the awareness of North Korean diaspora YouTubers and their activities in the YouTube and a TV show in South Korea as a new countries. So in here, diaspora could be included around the world, but for this preliminary research, I will narrow down the case of in South Korea. So the more general questions like that, does new media like social network service or even the YouTube affect to the social integrations and reconstructions of the diaspora identity at the new in the new countries? More specific questions like how the North Korean diaspora YouTubers activities influence the establishment their new social cultural identities. So here is a quite related the literature. So literature suggests some valuable answer of these big questions. So new media could help the youth refugees integrate into new society because it has some replicate existing some network at theirs and also explore new network by these service at theirs and the gaining and access to new information and resources in their life. So not only these practical reasons, so new media assist the young refugees to expand their self-presentations and social identity formations. So for instance, Wakoni conduct some Syrian diaspora case. Let's go. So how young refugees could construct these social identity by using these social medias. Of course, it's a kind of the multicultural causality, but part of them, the social media could be helped to these young diaspora social identities. And they could media provider itself, so rejecting the mainstream of images like normally they describe as victims or something like that, but they could constructing the alternative images itself. So this could be linked to many literature using the Irving Goffman's theory of the self-presentations. So and also the Green and Epstein already argue that commodification of defectors' stories in South Korea TV shows, like as you can see, 이제 만나러 갑니다, 임종편. So recently, the interesting point is that the North Korean diaspora information markets, the useful North Korean so-called 장마당 generations, they are discussing everyday life in North Korea, and they gain more popularity in the new media as well. So the common process is that they join this kind of TV show, traditional TV show first, and then they start their own medias, the YouTube or African TVs or other social medias. So I move to the next sessions of understanding of North Korean diaspora YouTubers. So for these case studies, so I manually gathered these silver award YouTubers. So actually I gathered at first 47 cases first, and then listing up and selecting these silver award cases. So here you can see that the main content is quoted by the researchers. So it might be different, the research by researcher, but I show you some typology why I conduct this kind of the contents itself. So here's I use the typology of how we define the North Korean diaspora video contents by different typologies. The first one is North Korean everyday life. So it demonstrates the cultural differences as a North Korean identity. So how they feel that when they first see something in Korea, or these kind of videos, everyday life in North Korea, and also this part, and what is called something product in the North Korea. And also the factor story as well, part of this North Korean everyday life. The other type is news commentary. So this type is a news commentary about North Korean affairs based on anonymous sources normally. And sometimes they predict on South Korean government, especially the Moon Jae-in government. The last typology is vlog style videos. So the difference is the vlog and the first one, North Korea, the everyday life, is that the vlog is more likely there's no North Koreanese, their social identity. It's just as a normal person. So they represent without the North Koreanness in here. So there are various range of these videos, like cooking show or eating shows or review contents, or even they provide some personal business like used car market or singing, or even the politicians, they use these channels for advertisement. So this table show that the descriptive statistics of this data set. So because of this large scale of number, I use the log scale, and then it's not about analysis of 17 the channel itself, but the unit of analysis is a video clip of these channels. So we can check that the gender difference in the different type of video. So as you can see in here, the female influencers gain more attentions in North Korean everyday life and vlog style video types, whereas, as we assume, the male influencers gained more attention in the news category than others. So we can double check some of these one is contrast adjust regression predictions as well. So when we compare difference among the types, the main channel owners more contrast between the news and everyday life than vlog and everyday life. So that means that there are listing orders for follow the male channel owners have more attention. News first, and then everyday, then last one is a vlog. Whereas the female influencers has a different orders in here. They gain the attention more vlog first, and then everyday life, and then last one is a news category. So these findings indicate that the gender difference exists in these different type of North Korean diaspora YouTubers. So when we're using time variable in here, we can check that the trend change of the video type. So normally assessing number of views. So North Korean everyday life and the vlog style, you can see that the green and blue one has a similar patterns, the starting point, but decreasing slightly after the March 2020. And then it increased slightly nowadays. So the trend could be described that the steady increase tendency set nowadays. However, you can see the red one is a news category. It started a relatively low point start and then increase around March in the 2020. After that, the popularity of news contents are quite sharply, not sharply, but it's a decreased trend itself. As you can see, this is a log scale graph, so it might be not dramatically changing itself because it's a log scale. So we can summarize that everyday life and the vlog contents are more popular than news contents in recently. So here's a little bit complicated one. So how political events, the relationship with North Korea affect the uploading practice of the news contents. Normally we think that, oh, there is a negative event there. So what a relationship between view and the uploading style there. So we can check that this one. So we can easily assess uploading date itself, its videos, but the gathering number of view by the specific political event could be challenging for this kind of systematic analysis because as we can see, we can view the later these video, even the 1 month or even the several months later, right? So using the number of views, counting the view might be a little challenging. So as a proxy indicators, we can trace some expanded weeks. So week 1, week 2, week 3 by the political event. I choose some 37, the selected political events. See the appendixes there in my manuscript. So it might be hard that the correlations between the political positive event and the negative event to explain the number of views. So it's quite unclear. However, we can see that when the negative political events happens, the news commentary videos follow up very frequently in the uploading. So, however, this could be seen as a bias because among the 37 political events, there are many of the negative events there. So I think this part could be more elaborated for the following up the research. So in the written interview, so one of those Korean diaspora YouTubers said that by communicating and emotional support when she used some live chatting and reply. So she experienced support to constructing the social identity in South Korea. However, the North Korean diaspora YouTuber activities are not the magical tool for social identity constructions and self-presentations. For instance, there are competitiveness in this business. So showing off the North Korean higher status positions or occupations, or even they denouncing the other YouTubers. And there's some biased information about the other regions among the North Korean YouTubers, even though they said that they are hacking mails or personal inserts there. Because of this competitiveness, so and also there are digital attention economy features in the YouTube system. So there will be limitation of self-representations, the constructing social identity, the YouTube activities. In the word frequency analysis, you can see that news type of this category demonstrate highest monetization process of title and the contents description. As you can see, in the title or the description, how many word the bank or sponsor, you can see that there are different proportion of these different type of categories. And also,
Junhyoung, can
Yep.
I'll give you 2 minutes to wrap up.
So there are some skeptical attitude about even those Korean diaspora YouTuber they have. So this is my conclusion part. So in this preliminary research, so we can find some those Korean diaspora YouTuber changes the stereotype of discourse. But we can see that it's not a magical tool because there are limitations of this system itself. So despite of these limitations, so it could be methodological approximations for research of North Korean everyday life or social identity building in the Jangmadang generations for the future research. So thank you so much for the listening.